Hello everyone, this is Cameron Schrader. I'm here to bring you another tutorial. But really quickly before I start, I want to say I'm sorry. I'm a bit slow on putting tutorials out. I am trying to be fast with it, or fast with putting them out. I want to give out, or I want to teach a lot of things that are important about making uplifting trance, and I'll eventually make it to progressive trance tutorials. But I've had some pretty horrible health issues the past month, so I haven't been able to record as much as I've wanted to. Because even this past week alone, I've just been in such horrible pain that I don't even feel like getting on my computer, um, much less producing. So, in this tutorial, depressing things aside, I'm going to teach you how I put together my drum lines for uplifting trance. This is the project file for a track that I just released for free on my SoundCloud page called On a Cloudy Day. So here's a good idea. Here's what the layout of the track looks like. Bunch of automation at the bottom. There's not even, this track isn't actually using that much tracks here on the playlist. Anyways, let's get down to business, shall we? So I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna do this just for the sake of it being convenient. This is the percussion line. I'm using 6 loops in this track, which is a lot, and then 2 hats, a clap, and a snare. So here's what it sounds like. Whoops, there's a bit of automation going on. Should be, yeah. So here's what that's what it sounds like. And then the individual samples sound like, this is the snare, clap, and my hat group, loop 1, loop 2, loop 3. Oh, by the way, I'm sorry if there's a lawnmower that you can hear in the background. I just now realized that I can hear it over my headphones, so yeah, sorry. Loop 4. The 5th loop, one of my favorite loops. And then this hi-hat loop is literally just a simple hi-hat loop. The original loop just is a hat with some ping pong delay on it. It was a loop made by Golardi. He sent it to me because he's awesome and really nice and friendly. And then any other polite terms that you could call him. He's really awesome. And I just used that because I'm freaking lazy and I didn't want to throw in another hi-hat group or anything. Anyways, I'm going to show what I've done to these. I'll show what exactly the samples are. So the snare is from Vengeance Essential Club Sounds 2. This snare, it's the 15th snare. My mouth is really dry. Sounds like this, with all of the effects. With my mixer up, and without the effects it sounds like this. So I'm doing a bunch of changes to this. What I've done to my snare here is I've boosted the low mid and the bass area of the hit, so it's a bit more stabby. I've boosted the highs, which is basically just noise, like white noise. Let me get rid of this reverb real quick. And then I've lowered the mids, so you get a really just nice stabby snare sound. Then with the first reverb, you can hear it. There's a bit of pre-delay. The decay is 0.5 seconds, and there's only 5% reverb. This is just to make the snare sound a little bit more organic. It just makes it sound a bit more crisp, or organic, or natural. It's not to make it sound like it's coming from a room or anything. And then since this snare goes along with the clap, I don't want it stabbing through the mix. It just helps the clap shine through the mix a bit more. This the second reverb it makes the snare sound like it's coming from a big room. So there's 45 milliseconds of I hope I said that right. Milliseconds? It doesn't matter. Of pre-delay. The high cut is at 11 kilohertz. There is no low cut. The color is flat. The highs are dampened by 5 kilohertz. There's 32% reverb. And in some tracks I won't use that much reverb because it's a lot. The decay is 0.8 seconds. For snares, I would not ever go above 0.8 seconds. And of course dry, I always leave that at 100% for snares. And diffusion, I usually leave that at 100. Room size, usually leave it the same. So yeah, that's the snare. The clap, I don't even think I've done much to it aside from some EQing. The clap is from Vengeance Essential Club Sounds Volume 1. It's one of my favorite claps. Sometimes I layer claps, but there's a few that sound really good without being layered with anything else. So this is Vengeance Essential Club Sounds 1, clap 80. Oops, I keep accidentally hitting that, and this mix is extremely loud, so yeah. It's just got some simple EQing on it. There's a low cut right here at 100 hertz. And it's boosted right here where it says treble, right at about 10,000 kilohertz, or not kilohertz, but hertz. And without this boost, it sounds like this. So it's still pretty good, but this just makes the high ends punch through the mix more. Sounds a lot better. This one is just another low cut. Oops, I turned it off. So that nothing will be here. Because most claps are just made out of white noise, and white noise is noise occupying all frequencies. Noises that only occupy certain ranges are not white noise. They're different colored noises, but I can't remember what they're at. So or what they're called, but most claps are made out of white noise, meaning that by the time the clap is done, there's usually not much noise left in the lower ends, but you'll still need to cut them out, if that makes any sense. And then there's a bit of compression going on just to make it a bit louder and shine through the mix a bit more. The threshold is at negative 14.5 dB. Ratio is 6 to 1. The gain is 0.7 decibels. The type is hard. The release is at 300 and the attack is at 50. Now, I don't normally use a single band compressor, but if you're only using, I would say that it's fine to use a single band compressor such as Fruity Compressor on individual hits. Okay, so let's move on to the hat group. I keep accidentally hitting that. This is what the hat group sounds like. Now the first one, I get most of my samples. I use most of my samples from the Active Trance Essentials pack, and yes, I did buy it. You're probably looking at a lot of people point out the Vengeance packs. I did actually buy. I've bought everything from Freshly Squeezed Samples. It's an amazing website. They put out really quality stuff, and the MIDI packs that they've put out are really great for inspiration. Like, as I don't have a musical background, so looking at the way that they've written their MIDIs was a great help for melodies and chords in general. Anyways, this hat is from Active Trance Essentials, and it's just the first hat, first closed hat. There's a low cut right between 200 and 500. And then there's just a bit of delay, and it's at 3 steps, I think. Yeah, that's at 3 steps. And the cutoff is almost all the way down, so there's only one more tick afterwards, and the delay type is normal, because there's only one more hit caused by the delay, so with ping pong it would sound kind of weird unless there were 2 more hits. This second hat is just your classic open hi-hat for trance, and it's heard in pretty much everything. Like, it's really popular in deep house right now, just because it doesn't sound really natural at all. You can tell that it was synthesized. That's not the point though. This hat is in pretty much every sample pack there is, and I wish I was exaggerating, but I've heard variations of it in pretty much every sample pack I've ever downloaded. But the one that I use is the cleanest version, or the driest version I've found, and it actually came with FL Studio. You go to hats, it's the GRV Open Hat 05. And then I open up the sample, and I don't want the hat to be as open as what the normal hat is. So I brought the fade out a bit. See how open that is with the out down a bit, or the fade out. Let me show you what this does. So with that up, it sounds like a normal closed hat, but I have it about right there most of the time. So it still sounds open, but it doesn't. It's not sustained for as long as it is normally. Just has this sample has a lot of low end, so I'm cutting at 200, and then there's a very tiny boost at 8400 hertz, and I don't even do the boost most of the time because it's just it's not necessary most of the time. I don't have a third hat or percussion, any percussion. Percussion is all done in the loops. Oops. I'm under some pretty heavy medication right now, so I'm trying to do this as fast as I can. I don't ever EQ. Okay, I might have EQ'd here. Yeah, loop 4. I don't ever EQ the loops unless it's really necessary. And by that I mean like boosting and lowering. I just do low cuts. I low cut everything because this one, if I play this, copy this real quick. You might have noticed that at the end of this loop there was a horrible rumble or click at the end. Right there. We don't care about the rumble. That's probably one of the best examples of rumble in a sample that I can show you. But pretty much every sample will have it, so you want to cut out what you don't want to hear or what you can't really hear. Because a lot of rumble is inaudible, but even though you can't hear it, it still will mess with your mix, so you want to cut out something if you see it showing up on your equalizer. I like the way FL Studio does it because they're in bands instead of showing the waveform like FabFilter does. So Parametric EQ2 and FabFilter Pro Q are the best EQing tools in my opinion. For loop 4, it has a lot of low end that is supposed to be there. Oops. Oh no. Okay. Apparently I was wrong. What's number 4? I'm an idiot sometimes. Oh yeah. It has some percussion hits right here, and I wanted them lowered a bit, so I just dragged the first knob, which is a low shelf, here a bit, because the percussion is right here in the low mid, so but I noticed that when I drug down on 3, it sounded a bit weird, so instead I just brought the entire shelf down. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay, so real quick, I'll show you what samples I used. For the first loop, I used Activa Trance Essentials Drum Loop 7 percussion loop. Second one, Activa 12th drum loop. Third one is Activa 11th drum loop. The fourth is Activa 68th drum loop. The fifth one is Vengeance Future House 2, 140 BPM Lector Chance Kit, and it's the second loop. Okay, and I'll show you something real quick with that specific pack that I like a lot. Is it this? This sample right here is really good. It's a really good hi-hat loop. So I know myself and Pyromax, a friend of mine, we use that sample a lot when we're making the sustained, when we're making tracks with sustained bass lines. It adds that's a really groovy snare or sample loop. So that one's a really good hi-hat loop. Anyways, I'm rambling as usual. On the percussion bus, I have multiple EQs, a compressor, another compressor, and then a filter, which is just for effects. It's not necessary. Show you. I'm going to turn my computer's volume down. So this is really loud. So the low ends, which is snares, low ends, or the bass, snares, and really heavy percussion. I'm boosting those a bit because I want them to be quiet, but I also want to boost them a bit so they'll be a bit prominent. I'm boosting some of the mids and then a lot of the highs. Where number 6 is, there's a hat, so I lowered the tension of it a bit to give a little boost right here. And then I just raised 7 because there's just most of the percussion is right here, so you just want to boost it. You see there's a lot of stuff going on here and here, so you just do this by ear. You do a little bit of boosting until you get something that sounds good. The second EQ is just a low cut at 50 Hertz. The third EQ gets rid of a lot of the low ends that are right here. So this stuff right here, and it boosts those same low areas right here. I just don't want them in the really low area. And it gives the hat another boost. The compressor does some light compression on the entire percussion area. The release is at 250, the attack is at 40. The threshold is negative 12.5 decibels. The ratio is 6 to 1. And it gains 2.4 decibels, and the type is hard if you're using free compressor. And I have a multi-grain compressor, Maximus, on here. And I've just messed with the attack and the release on these. And then we hit solo. I've messed with these to designate which where the highs are and where the mids are. And then I've just messed with the attack and release on these. And then on the master, I raised the gain just a wee bit, as you can see right here. And the compression really just makes the percussion sign or shine. Let me turn it off real quick. See, it adds a bit of crispness if you paid attention. I'll do it again. That's what it sounds like when it's off. And I'll turn it on. Just pay attention to when this little thing right here turns green. I'll turn it on here in a second and pay attention to the change. So compression is essential for your percussion. And then as far as the actual loops go, you may have seen this and thought, holy crap, that's a ton of loops. Why don't you just make your own stuff? The most prominent percussion is this stuff right here. Loops just add, you don't want your focal point of your percussion to be loops, but they just add a lot to your percussion. They make loops add a lot of filler to your percussion area. So if we play what I've got on my own, that sounds pretty good, just in my opinion, because that's what you're going to be hearing throughout the entire track, because I have my hats and my claps shining through the mix. You're going to hear that no matter what. But the loops, listen how empty this sounds. I'll throw in the first loop and there will already be a big change. So that's why you use loops. See, these loops, most of them aren't even as loud as the clap in my hats that I've got going on, so loops just add a lot to your percussion. The creative filter that I've got going on here by Sonoxis, I don't know how to pronounce that. It's just a low cut or high cut. I only used it for the intro of the track. You don't need anything like that. It's not really necessary. It's just for the intro, like I said. And the last thing I can show you is some of the loops that I like. The absolute best pack that is out there, the best sample pack for trance is Activa Trance Essentials. If you make 136, 138, 140 Uplifting Trance, this is your pack that you need. Because the percussion loops and the drum hits and everything are amazing. Like number 7 is one of my favorites. I'm using it here. 211 is pretty good. If I can find it. There we go. I'm not using it in this track, but it is a pretty good one. Let's find a random one. So that's a pretty good loop. I've never used that one before. And then there's just some generally good drum hits in here. I don't really ever touch the open hats, but the third one is kind of good if you don't want to use the same open hat that I use. It's the same one, it's just edited a lot. The closed hats are all pretty good. So, yeah. That's my percussion line on my new track, On a Cloudy Day. You can download it for free. The track, not the FLP. I don't give my FLPs away. You can download the track for free on my SoundCloud page. There will be a link in the description, of course. And leave a comment if there's anything you want me to make a tutorial on. If you like this, please subscribe. Helps me out a lot. And follow me on SoundCloud if you like the track. See ya.